the future of British energy will be powered, as it has been for decades, by the talent and skills of the working people in the Granite City, with GB Energy based in Aberdeen.
The Energy Secretary says he's speeding up the delivery of a skills passport to support oil and gas workers move into renewables. On a visit to a floating offshore wind facility in Aberdeen, Ed Miliband admitted the pace of the transition has so far been too slow, but insisted today's announcement will help secure work. He also signed a new agreement between the Scottish and UK governments allowing GB Energy to make partnerships with public bodies here. Oliver Wright has the details.
The oil and gas industry supports tens of thousands of jobs, but it's in decline. And there are fears that the green energy sector isn't moving fast enough to fill the gap. On a visit to a floating wind centre in Aberdeen, the Energy Minister was announcing steps to speed up plans to help people into renewable jobs.
As a new government, we're determined to actually make it happen. That's why we've reached agreement with Offshore Energies UK, Renewables UK and the Scottish Government to drive this forward, to have a prototype in January 2025 so it can actually start to happen. And that's about saying to oil and gas workers who are making the transition to renewables, your skills are going to be recognised, your talents are going to be recognised, and we can ease your way into future industries.
Labour's already announced Aberdeen as the new home for publicly owned GB Energy, its own renewables investment project. And while news around the skills passport has been welcomed by those in the industry, there's concern any changes to the windfall tax at the end of the month will create more uncertainty in the sector, putting people out of work with no renewables jobs to go to.
The oil and gas companies are investing in today's energy system, but they're also investing in tomorrow's energy system as well. What we have to understand is that the UK is competing against other countries for that investment at the same time, though. And we have to make sure that companies want to spend the money in the UK and have the ability to spend the money in the UK. The tax system is a really important part of that.
Environmentalists have praised new agreements between the Scottish and UK governments as a welcome step change, but say it's long overdue. Experts say the transition to renewables needs more collaboration between government and industry.
The oil and gas industry has been in decline for a quarter of a century, so decline is nothing new. The choice now is between manage decline and accelerate the decline. To set the future up for success, we need close collaboration between governments, industry and of course regulators. So it is critical that we get like announcements today where we see people working together for a common goal and to drive and accelerate that progress. So really welcome news. We see to be more of that, and we see more of that collaboration happening to make sure the industry is set up for success.
The energy sector has found itself at a difficult crossroads for years. Getting the transition right and saving people's jobs requires a delicate approach. The next few years will be crucial, both for the future of the region and Scotland's economy.
And Oliver is in Aberdeen for us now. Oliver, what's the real significance of this announcement?
Well, Norman, the energy sector has been working on this for years, moving people from oil and gas into renewables jobs. This just means that the government is on board with it for when GB Energy launches, whenever that may be. And Ed Miliband today was really quite excited about the prospect of investing in renewables jobs for people to find jobs in. There is concern, though, that this has all come a little bit too late, particularly for workers at the Grangemouth Oil Refinery, which is set to close. Tonight, unions there say they feel let down.
What was discussed was a number of issues that they've raised around the future of Grangemouth, but nothing about the current state of affairs at the refinery. In fact, it was really disappointing at the end there when we met with Mr Miliband himself alongside our reps. He told us basically the government are not willing to do a single thing to save the refinery.
So there is concern that these new announcements and the projects that GB Energy is hoping to fund won't be much help to those who are already at risk of losing their jobs. The general message tonight, though, from those in the industry is that this is a good step in the right direction. All eyes now are on the Chancellor's budget at the end of the month. Norman.
Oliver, thank you. Meanwhile, the organisation responsible for leasing seabeds for offshore renewable energy projects has welcomed the signing of the agreement. The Crown Estate Scotland, which plays a critical role in supporting the delivery of low-carbon energy, says it will now engage with GB Energy and other key stakeholders to identify areas of mutual interest. It says it's ready to help deliver initiatives crucial to the UK's net zero future.
Workers at the Grangemouth Oil Refinery have told us they're devastated by the closure of the Petroineos plant. Their comments come as the UK and Scottish governments announce an investment plan for the wider Grangemouth petrochemicals complex. While the site itself will still be a big employer, there's concern for the workforce and the wider local economy. Our energy correspondent Kevin Keane reports.
Two ministers hearing the concerns of workers from the Grangemouth Oil Refinery as both governments agree to work together on supporting the energy transition.
The reality is those low carbon solutions of the future will be delivered by people with their skill set. And right now we're being left high and dry.
People who work here, if they leave, they take the skills with them. These skills are lost, so actually to move into renewables, you need these skills back. If these people don't come back, there's no point putting renewables in this area.
The just transition is non-existent for us. They're too late to the party, so we're just going to be left fending for ourselves, basically.
Absolutely devastated, completely let down by the government. I'm out of job now, basically. It's just a moment of time now, really, mate.
That question about what's to come is one that hangs heavily over Europe's oil capital. Aberdeen's been investing for the future, with a new harbour to service a growth in offshore wind, but there's still a great deal of uncertainty. Not helped by the UK Energy Secretary taking 104 days from winning the general election to visiting Aberdeen for the first time. Symbolically, not to an oil company, but to a new innovation centre for floating offshore wind.
Have you been avoiding the oil and gas sector because they present to you such a dilemma?
Absolutely not. I'm delighted to be here talking about how Great British Energy, our new publicly owned energy company, is going to be headquartered here in Aberdeen. It is a vote of confidence in the workforce here.
The new Labour government has made it clear it wants to accelerate the energy transition. There's a fear that will lead to a brain drain if growth in renewables doesn't keep pace with the decline in oil. Among the announcements today, accelerating a skills passport, making it easier for oil and gas workers to transition.
We are future-proofing the energy industry in Scotland by ensuring that we are really putting our efforts into renewable generation and harnessing the skills of the oil and gas workers to move and transition into renewables as much as possible.
The oil supply ships nestled alongside this wind demonstration facility in Aberdeen Bay shows the transition is already happening. Ensuring the city maintains a vibrant economy throughout is not a guarantee, and the stakes are high. Kevin Keane reporting, Scotland, Aberdeen.